Rio Hondo Prep football is one of the best kept secrets in all of Southern California. As one of the smallest enrollments year in and year out, the Kares have won 14 CIF championships and have been one of the most successful programs throughout their history. Welcome to A Charge to Keep, the official podcast of Rio Hondo Prep football. And now, bringing you the latest news and content from his alma mater, a CIF champion in 2001. From the class of 2003, here's your host, Matt Ursima.
What is up, Rio Hondo football fans? It is good to be with you on a Saturday after another Rio Hondo Prep victory. The team improved to 4-0 on the young season with a Week 3 win at home against the Marquez Gladiators, 42-14 respectively. And if you look at the Rio Hondo scores, man, the past few weeks, every score has been eerily similar. 2 touchdowns basically given up, and most of those late, other than the Poly game. And Rio kind of steadily in that 42-45 range on the scoreboard. So another successful evening for Rio Hondo Prep at Kare Park, the first of 4 consecutive home games. And unfortunately, I was not in attendance last night. Couldn't be there. Sometimes, you just, you can't make it, I guess. Things come up and, it is what it is. But I was watching from far away on the NFHS network, and I have read the article and talked to Coach Carson a little bit already this morning. We're going to have him on the pod today. He's a he's a busy man. He's a father of 4. He's out at Kare. He's going to be, coming to us shortly from Kare Youth League, doing dad duties over there. So we won't take too much of his time. And then we're also going to be joined by Rio Hondo sophomore Noan Penunuri, who had himself quite a nice evening last night with 2 touchdowns. I think he led the Kares in rushing, and it was another balanced attack from Rio, if you will. 2 touchdowns from Noah, 2 more from Caden Holcomb, who was on the show last week. And slowly but surely, it's like what's the old saying in Remember the Titans? It's like Novocaine, give it time, it always works, right? As Coach Boone would say. So Nate Curtis did his thing, carrying the ball 4 times for 60 yards, 36 of those yards coming on a touchdown run in the second quarter. Yannick Diaz, again, 6 of 10 for 103 yards passing. Pretty solid performance there. And it was, I believe, Rain Pollock getting on the scoreboard for the Kares on defense for the first time this season. That's pretty cool, on a 16-yard interception return for a touchdown. So we will talk to Coach Carson about all this today. We're a little shorthanded on some of our clips and videos of this, so it might be a shorter show today. But we had to get it in regardless of, if we had the live coverage and everything there last night. So I won't make this a regular thing. I will absolutely be in attendance more often than not. But for the first time in a couple of years, I couldn't be there. And it was a bummer. It was a bummer to not be able to hear, from the guys and report to you guys and all this and that. So we'll get back to business next week against the Boron Bobcats, who come into town to take on Rio Hondo Prep in the second of 4 consecutive road games for Week 4. So exciting stuff indeed for Rio Hondo. Again, more great success on the field. I can't exactly say how the team looked from field level last night, because that wasn't exactly true. I was, I was away from the field watching online, but happy to see the Kares continue their success and take down a city section school in the Marquez Gladiators. That's always cool, taking on new opponents and somebody that Rio hadn't played yet before. And somebody that came in probably not knowing much about us, and I think hopefully they found out a little bit about us last night. So great to be 4-0. Let's now bring on head coach Mark Carson, HCMC, our fearless leader, so he can fill us in and just share his thoughts briefly on the game from last night. All right, now joining us from what looks to be 5150 Farna Avenue, Rio Hondo Prep, is HCMC head coach Mark Carson. I'm sure doing some dad duties, watching a lot of volleyball this morning. Good morning, Coach.
Yeah, volleyball this morning, and thought I'd be home to sit in front of my desktop for this, but my daughter got asked to play in the second game, so she's inside playing, and I thought we'd get this done right now. But beautiful day, though.
Yeah, those Carson girls, man. We got some athletes here that are playing all kinds of volleyball. Emma Carson last week being the player of the week, and now your daughter's just, man, you got to be proud of the Carson volleyball heritage, I guess.
It's out of control. They're all over the place, but yeah, they like playing. So yeah,
fantastic. Well, Mark, a good win last night, 42-14, taking down the Marquez Gladiators. A really balanced game once again, especially on the scoreboard. All of your scores have been very, very similar. But if you could sum up the evening, just the opening statement from the Marquez Gladiators, them coming in, and what that was all like.
Yeah, really interesting game and how it broke down because they showed up at really huge roster. They had 2 buses there and brought their band and color guard, which was really cool. We don't, a lot of schools we play don't have that, so that was fun. And for the first quarter, we're like, man, this is gonna be a 4-quarter slugfest. That's what it felt like. But then, as often happens, man, we have these spats or these periods where we just jump on teams. We had a 4th and 7 where Nate Curtis scored on a 4th and 7. And again, great call on Randy's part. I don't know what Randy's conversion and rate on after a timeout is, but after a timeout, it's like he's just deadly. And it was a simple play. It was just a blast play, but we scored on it, and then get a sack, pick 6, and all of a sudden, their body language just changes from amped up into the game, playing with their huge student section and all fired up to, oh man, ain't gonna be our night. And I think that happens a lot to teams, where that's a challenge as a coach to, you're going to get down, but you got to hold the line, and like keep playing. And it's a challenge though. And you see it happen where teams, we're really not 4 touchdowns better than them, but it kind of it's going downhill, the snowball effect. And then really turns into a, one-sided affair. But I think, by and large, is a good night. Like you said, a lot of different guys got on the scoreboard. Defense played pretty well. Got our first pick 6 and all that. So good night. And we had a good crowd at Kare Park. And everyone was happy.
It's nice when the opponents bring some fans, bring an atmosphere, right? It kind of it adds to it, and maybe makes us step up our game too. Kind of like what Rio Hondo fans do on the road, really making a home game their own. So yeah, great atmosphere for sure. We got to mention the pick 6, Mark. Great play by your sophomore linebacker, Rain Pollock. First time the defense scored, but he was flagged for a penalty on that, and it was only 15 yards. But I think the penalty probably came out a lot worse for what Coach Carson had to tell him afterwards.
Yeah, he's going to hear from us all too when we watch film on Monday. Good play by Rain. It was one of those things we dropped more into coverage than I think they were expecting. It kind of fell right to him. QB never saw him, and Rain with his speed was able to kind of coast in. But yeah, the celebration was a bit much. We try to encourage our guys to celebrate with your team. And I think the ref didn't like the fact that he was kind of running. His momentum kind of took him towards their sideline. And I mentioned to someone on the sideline, I go, come on, Rain, act like you've been there before. And it was Nate Curtis. And he goes, I don't think he has been there before, Coach. So this is new for him. And so I'm like, okay, well, but again, something to coach him up on. It wasn't mean-spirited in any way. And so, but yeah, celebrate with your team. And that's all that's all you got to worry about after a big play.
Yeah, we know kind of Rain's spirit, where his heart's at. It's just kind of a good lesson to us. Like, hey, at Rio Hondo, we do things a certain way. Don't even get near, the unsporting type of behavior, because that's not what we do. And so, yeah, a good lesson. Hey, your team's still young. You're still teaching these young guys stuff.
Exactly. So hopefully it's a lesson learned. And in a competitive game, you don't want that to come back to haunt you. A silly penalty like that. So, I thought it was a correct call. The officials, I thought, had a really good night. It was a really good crew. So nothing to complain about there. And yeah, lesson learned.
For sure. Well, you had, again, a balanced attack offensively. Your sophomore quarterback, sorry.
Diaz.
Diaz. Sorry. Yannick Diaz was 6 of 10, 100 yards passing, 100+ yards. So he seems to be, a little more comfort level there. That was nice to see. But again, the rushing attack, Caden Holcomb, 2 touchdowns, Noan Penunuri, 2 touchdowns. We mentioned Nate Curtis. So, man, Caden was on the show last week. We're going to have Noan Penunuri on the game this week. And I mean, what do you make, Mark, of all your different running backs contributing and running their different styles, and just how it's got to be tough for opponents to like, wait, who do we stop here?
Yeah, it's really a four-headed monster. If you look at it, the 4 horsemen, I don't know, maybe we'll think of a catchy name for him, but between Caden, Noah, And then Nate and Nate Curtis and Nate Shine, the two Nates, it really creates a dynamic offense. And then you have Tyler out wide, Flodra out wide, Josh Tafflinger at tight end, where it's like you can't say, hey, at Rio, just stop so-and-so, and you'll be fine, because Randy will find another way to attack you and get the ball to someone else in space. Rain Pollock, who we mentioned, another good tight end. So we love it how diverse our offense is, how hard it is to stop, how many different ways we come at people. Yeah, Caden's more of a battering ram. He's going to get downhill, and Noah more of the slasher. And then the two Nates have their own style as well.
Yeah, it's man, and again, we've talked a lot about the offensive line, but the Rio running game, for whatever reason, it's a lot of reasons, but it's tough to stop, and it's nice to see guys getting in a rhythm. We're gonna have Noan Penunuri on the program today. He opened the season for us last year, coming on the show as a freshman. So your sophomore running back, linebacker, another big night. He kind of just quietly goes about his business. What are some of your words for coaching a guy like Noah?
Yeah, this is a great guy to have on your team. His durability is amazing. He can run forever. He can play offense, defense, special teams if you need to. We try to get him breaks now and then. But it's super solid, very smart. Doesn't get injured, doesn't get hurt, really. I mean, everyone gets banged up, obviously, but he knows how to fall. It's that jiu-jitsu background, I think. He knows how to fall, knows how to get guy ground, tight spaces, or in the open field. And just he's got that Penunuri toughness from his dad and his older brother who played at Rio. But unlike Adam, he's actually got some wheels, so he's fast, and so that helps too. Just an all-around great player, great athlete. So super fun to coach guys like that.
Yeah,
tough as nails.
If I had to sum it up, I mean, there's so many great players on your team, but I think someone like Noah, and I'm going to tell him this, I think, is when I see him or anyone I talk to, I'm like, that's a Rio Hondo guy right there. That's what we're looking for as far as Rio Hondo football players, guys who have good talent, but they go above and beyond what they have, and they're coachable, great teammates. I mean, he really does check a lot of boxes.
Yeah, very intelligent player as well. Great student, respectful. Obviously that goes to his training at home and what he brings there. But just a guy you love seeing have success because he's a hard worker, not super flamboyant or flashy, just gets it done. And so, yeah, if we could have 20 Noan Penunuris, we'd be unstoppable.
Great stuff. Well, Mark, I got a question for you. First time of the season, we got a question from a fan, I believe. One of our most noted alumni, one of the guys who played Division I football not too long ago. One of my former teammates, Rio great Landon Goodwill, tuned in. Sent me a message from he lives out in Arizona now, has two young boys, and Landon's doing a great job as a father and just a great guy. But anyway, he shot me a text or a message. He said, "Yo, I've been meaning to tell you to ask Mark if they ever consider an out-of-state game sometime in the future." Is that something, Coach, that you've looked into? Maybe potentially, we've seen you travel to other counties and everything, but I don't know, maybe a real road trip to start a season or something.
I've actually thought about it. Never really heavily considered it since there's so many teams, out in California we could play, and you can do a great road trip here, whether it's up to the San Luis Obispo or down to San Diego. But a school in Vegas might make sense, right? I think a lot of our parents and fans would like that, enjoy a trip there. Never thought about Arizona, but if the opportunity was right, it'd be fun, and why not? That's the way I look at it. Why not?
Well, you see at the beginning of the year, every season, you see all these games on ESPN. California versus Florida, or Texas versus Arizona. And so I don't know, that would be pretty neat. And who knows, maybe we could work out some type of broadcast deal and get Rio on ESPN or some platform like that. That would be something.
That'd be awesome. And yeah, if Landon, ask him back. If he knows someone out there, it would be a good matchup. Let us know.
There you go. Hey, Landon, scout it up, bro. Scout it up. Yeah. Always.
Yeah, I think you'd want to do something like that. Yeah, you can really do it at any point in the season. It obviously makes sense at the beginning, maybe where families can make a little, vacation out of it, but in the summer, but not the end of the world to do it during the school year too. It's tricky for us once school starts is the whole care piece of it, where a lot of our coaches and the kids need to be back for Saturday care games. And so it really have to be done probably that week 0 or maybe week 1 if we did it.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to know that it's on the table and never say never. And yeah, I think Rio Hondo football could go, nationwide at some point. At least hit a few different states. That Rio bus has been all over the country, so why not take it on a football game or two?
Yeah, or how about we go to Hawaii?
Ooh, now we're talking. Hey,
week 0 game in Oahu or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, 3 years ago, we didn't have a charge to keep podcasts for the Rio football program. So you never say never. You never know what's down the road for the program.
Never say never. Financing it would be the one issue, getting that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Mark, I was teasing you the other day. I'm not teasing. I was watching film, and Rio's one of the only schools that does an old school flex bone formation down by the goal line usually, and it's usually very successful on goal line plays or even PATs. And I was joking with you, man. I was like, I'm calling this the T-bone, man, because I'm a T-bone steak guy, but it's always, every time you run that, you seem to get in the end zone. So that's what you guys call it what you want. When I see it, I'm like, oh, there's the T-bone, man. 6 points coming.
Yeah, we like that down short yardage, especially near the goal line. We just call it bone, but T-bone sounds cool too.
Oh, you gotta own that team, man. You got
go eat. Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. I like that. Go eat. Here we go. Yeah. I can see Coach AJ down there, getting the guys fired up with something like that. That's really cool. Talk to me, Mark, about Yannick Diaz. He started at quarterback once again. We talked about some of his numbers, 6 of 10, 103 yards. Compared to the week before, his first start, where he had some good numbers, similar numbers. What did you make of his performance? Did you see some slight improvement, or kind of was there any struggles for him as far as, going out there and taking –
I think a couple of his reads weren't what we would have preferred as far as who he went to, but had a really nice throw to Nate on a play action play that went for 30-something yards. Hit Josh Taflinger down the middle on a Y arrow, and a couple of good throws there. Threw the ball away once when he had a broken play, which was smart. So he did well. Didn't turn the ball over. Got us in and out of huddle, and made some nice throws. But still some reads we thought he could have done better on. But all in all, a good game.
Well, I wasn't able to attend last night. I do apologize. My perfect attendance is out the window. You know what? Hey, sometimes
we understand. We understand.
Oh man, I felt so bad, Like it wouldn't even. I was just like, anyway, letting the team down. All this broadcasting about loyalty and honor and all that. Anyway, I'm just kidding. But I did see that. Was it his article, Brian Reed Baeta, or threw together some interviews with so he stepped. So see, there was a reason.
It worked out. There was a reason behind all of it. Providence, Matt. It's amazing how stuff works like that. And Brian didn't even tell us he was coming. He just showed up and did his thing. And so he seems like he goes to one game a year now for us, which is really cool. He likes our school and we have a great relationship. So we really appreciate him coming out and putting this stuff out on 210 Prep Sports.
Yeah, he does a phenomenal job. We had him on the podcast last year talking about Rio and just kind of for the size of the school, what we put out as a product and a program, whether it's the medical staff, the statisticians, heck, the podcast now, I'll brag about that. Just anything really. It's a big time program kind of run behind the scenes really. And so he deals with other schools. And so he's been fantastic. What do you remember? Do you remember the first time you kind of interacted with Brian Reed Baeta? Because he's always had high praise for you.
Yeah, I think it was, man, who was it? Who were we playing? He reached out. You know what? The first interaction was our 2019 baseball championship, I believe. And one of our parents, I think it was the Vasquez family, said, hey, we're in the 210 area. We want to think about covering us. And he actually did. He started to. We got on that run, that magical run, that playoffs, and went CIF. And ever since then, I think the following year, he asked to come out to a game, football game. I said, yeah, come on out, dude. And so really ever since then, he's been part of our program and done a good job covering us. And so we really appreciated that.
Yeah, it's nice to get consistent articles, we'll say, from him. Whereas, back in the day, it's like you'd have to make a run in the playoffs to get some media coverage. It's like, wait, Rio Hondo who? Now it's every week. We got nice photos. We really got some professional photographers, Mrs. Coulter, Clarissa Johnson, and Mrs. Mosier.
You do a great job.
Man, we really got all kinds of access out here. I hope the kids appreciate and understand everything that's going on around them, that they are getting interviews and photos and videos. Like, we never had this stuff in the past.
I know, it's so cool. The digital age is amazing. And they grew up in that, so that they kind of maybe don't appreciate it as much, but they do appreciate it, like they really do. Like, and the parents, every time one of the guys on the podcast or there's an article or something about them, the parents really appreciate it too. And they'll say, man, that's so great. And so it helps us build the Rio Hondo brand and makes us, like you said, a big time operation, even though we're a small school.
Well, big time operation. I like that, Coach. I think I'm going to steal it. Maybe even the title of this podcast today. I agree. Rio is a big time operation through and through. And yeah, we got a great fan base, great alumni, and some passionate people. And I want to mention something that I posted earlier this week on the Rio Facebook page from one of our alumnus, Ken Lee, who was basically, I don't know, you and I both love college football, Mark. In the past few weeks, we've been watching a lot of it. NFL started Thursday. And we really do live in this age now of it's all about me. It's all about celebrating everything when you barely did anything. It's a very just everything that Rio Hondo does not stand for, basically. And so Ken had a message that he posted just about, hey, you don't need to over celebrate and just, he didn't say anything about specifically Rio Hondo football player. There was some misunderstanding, we'll say, and we've all cleared the air and everything. But I thought it was a great post, and I just want to allow you to comment. Basically, Ken Lee, I believe, was a former teammate of yours, and he was in no way calling out the Rio program. He was discussing with football out in the other outside world, and I think proud of the fact that Rio doesn't do those things.
Right. Yeah, there might have been misinterpreted a little bit, but yeah, I think once the air was cleared, it was like, yeah, it wasn't directed at us. It was just towards football players in general, and I think we all understand that, and so it's really cool. Obviously, Ken's very supportive. And so, yeah, this day and age, you're thinking everyone wants to get, whatever, their brand promoted individually rather than team. Like for Rio, it's about team and the success of the team, right? And that's the key, and feeding off each other. And so, yeah, everything Ken said was spot on. Our only, thing that I think us older players and everyone's got to remember too, guys, and I think, who was it? It might have been one of those old school, like Bill Belichick or Nick Saban might have said, like, it's okay to celebrate, but yeah, celebrate with your team, right? And these guys work so hard, and you get to play 10 games, you know what I'm saying? And so we want the energy, we want the emotion and all that, but it always should be directed towards us, celebrating with our team, never directed towards the opposition or trying to show them up or anything like that. And so that's really what I think is important. And yeah, just making a good play is a good play. Yeah, you're doing your job, high five and get back to the huddle and do it again. So I think that's the mantra. Yeah.
Energy is a good thing. It's important to play that. You can't play this game without passion. You can't really coach it without passion. It's hard to cheer for it without passion. Like, it's just controlling that energy, really. And it's good to see places like Rio Hondo that do teach kids on a daily basis, like, hey, there's a right way and a wrong way to do things. And and you see it in all the alumni that go in service to others. I mean, is this kind of a daily conversation you have with your team, Mark, about how to play the real way, if you will? Is it brought up in club meetings, examples on the practice field? How do you communicate it to your players throughout the season?
It's all the time, right? It's more caught than taught, and so it's just caught in everything we do, practice, film, weight room, club meeting, on and around campus. So it's hopefully they're catching it through everything we do and everything we talk about. It's not necessarily sitting down and saying, this is the Rio way per se. It's just in everything we do and how we go about our business.
Mm-hmm. Well, because kids, we talked about how good the media age could be. Everywhere they look, sometimes there's guys who making big plays and like pumping their chest, like I did a great thing, and that's getting promoted throughout the country, really. And so, how do you combat that with guy? What do you tell a kid who sees it? Oh man, that's really cool. That guy made the Instagram page or whatever. So how do you combat that?
I just try to tell them, guys, it's team first. Everything is about the team, and you make a good play, that's great, right? Go high five a teammate, or your teammate makes a good play, go high five him, right? Go tap him on the helmet, right? Go celebrate with him, but then know that there's still more plays to be made, right? And you celebrating, trying to get attention to yourself isn't what we're about, right? And so even on a big play where you like an interception or touchdown, rather than throwing the ball up or spinning it or whatever, we try to teach our guys, hey, go hand the ball to the ref, right? And that's just one subtle thing that kind of that keeps in mind that, hey, we got still more work to do, and we're not here to self-promote or celebrate or show teams up.
I have he who is without sin cast the first stone, right? I have a story that I will share. I was a sophomore playing up in the playoffs. We were blowing out a team. So that means, I got to get a snap. It's actually the CIF championship, and played Kuyama, and they knew they were going to lose, and we were just trying to run the clock out, and the clean jersey sophomores went in, and I handed the ball off, and I got absolutely leveled by their best player, who was just total cheap shot, and flag came out. I got up, and I, rightfully so, thought I was justified in this. I started clapping in the guy's face repeatedly, like, yeah, and then sure enough, a flag dots me in the chest, and I remember, and sure enough, I got pulled to our sideline, and I'll never forget Mr. Gary Lenny, God rest his soul. He was just like, it was like something along the lines of, if you want to play for Rio Hondo, that was not what we ever do, no matter what has happened, something like that. And needless to say, I didn't see the field the rest of the night, Mark. So I learned a valuable lesson that night.
Learned that lesson. Yeah, it's all about being poised, right, and keeping your emotions in check. You gotta play with emotion without being emotional, right? That's the key. Ooh. So that's the key. And so there's obviously back and forth on the field, but don't show people up, don't talk to the officials. Just play football and let your play do the talking, right? And
I'm putting you on the spot. I know. Now you can pick the sport coach. You're a fiery coach. We know that. But was there ever a time, maybe in Coach Carson's playing days in high school or something, where he got a penalty or he got a talking to from either Coach Johnson or
no doubt. Yeah. I can remember, like, first thing coming to my mind was getting into a fight in a basketball game, which was obviously a no-no. And that was very, hey, we don't do that, right? But it happens in the heat of the moment. Football, can I remember a specific time? I do remember making a hit near the goal line and kind of like pumping my fist like right in front of the guy's face. And our chain crew, which happened to be some staff, didn't like that. And so that got back to our coaches, and yeah, it was on film. And so they said, hey, let's be careful with doing that. But it was a good play, so I don't know how mad they really were, but that's how it goes. I do remember that. Yeah.
Hey, it's a constant cycle
here on Kare Field. Yep.
Oh yeah. Isn't it funny how those memories, like,
yeah,
they're as clear as day from us, yesteryear or whatever. And hey, it's a vicious cycle, man. We learn lessons, we pass them on, we communicate, and whatever. That's it. Well, Mark, let's talk about your next opponent, a friendly foe, we'll say, from the high desert. The Boron Bobcats come to town, make the long trip down here, and your good friend Rob Kostopoulos, I probably messed that up, who was on the podcast last year. He's bringing his undefeated Bobcats down here. They're 4-0 as well.
Yeah, they look really good. Watched a little of their tape last night. They look really good. It's going to be interesting because it's an old school JV varsity doubleheader. So we won't have the full sideline with guys from JV suiting up. And we're playing the JV game at 4, varsity game at 7. And so we're going to have to divide and conquer. And they're doing the same thing. So it's going to be interesting that way, in that, each team will have they'll probably have about 20. We'll probably have 20 something guys on the varsity roster on sidelines for the game. So that'll be an interesting aspect. Yeah, a lot of team speed out there from initial look on film. And of course they come down always hitting, and so Boron, it's going to be a hard hitting game. Ryan McCullough, he said, reflecting on last year, he goes, that was the hardest hitting game of the year for on. So very much looking forward to that. And yeah, 4-0, two teams. 4-0, something's got to give. One of us isn't going to be undefeated. So
that's right.
We'll see. And they're looking really good. It'll be good. It'll be a good game.
Looking forward to it. And Mark, they put up some points. I'm sure you've seen this, but they score in the high 40s. Once they've scored 56, another time last night 55. So those Bobcats, as you mentioned, their speed. Hey, once they get out in the open, scary things can happen, and you got to find a way to slow them down. But they also got to find a way to slow you guys down. Exactly
right. So it'll be cool. It's NFHS. CIF just notified us that NFHS is carrying the game, one of their games of the week. So that'll be fun. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, and talk to me about your relationship with Coach Rob of their team. We all heard him on the podcast last year. We'll try to get him back this year. I'm not sure if we can or not, but he was great in his respect for Rio Hondo Prep, and kind of came up like you as an assistant, and then you guys kind of became head coaches right around the same time.
Right around the same time, yeah. He's been around forever, just like I have at Rio. And just mutual respect, like you said. Both small schools. I think we're the smallest private school that plays 11-man football, and they're the smallest public school that plays 11-man football. And both do things the right way, just hard-nosed football. And it's fun playing them. And we like the fact that they play us, right? People will always say, hey, why are we going out to Boron again? Well, they'll play us. Not everyone else will. So we appreciate that.
And you guys have had the edge over them many times, but they have beaten us a handful of times as well. There's been some huge playoff matchups. And this dates way back to, I think, an early season, an early 2000s matchup in the postseason. You guys became frenemies, we'll say, ever since.
Yeah. They said after that, they called us up and said, we want you on our schedule after we beat them in the playoffs. And so we started playing them, and it hasn't really stopped. I think in one span, we played them 6 times in 4 years, through play stuff. So yeah, it's kind of cool.
Well, they're coming to Kare Field, another home game for you, 4 in a row at this point. So the second of 4 in a row should be great. Coach Carson, you're a busy man. We'll let you go today. A little shorter show, short notice and everything. But, hey, we'll be back at full strength next week. I promise you that.
Sounds good, brother. Thank you.
You got it, man. Talk to you soon, Mark.
Go Real. Thanks, Matt.
Go Real. Always appreciate Coach Carson coming on the program. A joy for me to really talk to him weekly. One of my very good friends from back in the day. Who coached me back when we were freshmen, and Mark had just came into the high school program, and we became such good friends after that. So for he and I to kind of do this weekly as part of the podcast, he's put his blessing on this whole thing. It's been a blessing for me to have his blessing. So always appreciate Mark and the hard work he puts in. And he's dad first and has to do those things. And so we told you this summer with our podcast, we're going to try to get these out on Saturdays, the day after, so that we can just get in that rhythm, right, of the day after, not waiting a couple days. And anyway, I'm here trying to throw all this together, despite me not being there last night. But hey, it's all good. A shorter episode today. It just it is what it is. But I do promise you guys full strength next week, and we'll come back with a bang, if you will, if all things go well. I will now be joined by our player guest today, our featured guest, I should say, who is a player. We've heard from a couple of seniors to start the season: Alex Mustaine, Matthew Brewer. We heard from junior transfer Caden Holcomb last week. This week, we're going to be joined by sophomore Noan Penunuri, who was a starter on last year's team, starting tailback as a freshman, and many players on that team had to contribute early and often. And Noah was one of those guys. He's a Rio Hondo guy, as I've said on the podcast here with Mark. He was on the podcast to start the season last year. First episode, I think, after the win against El Monte. So we're going to hear from one of our lower classmen on today's show. But as you fans out there know, the sophomore class is loaded and has a lot of guys back. And we will, again, continue to talk to many different players throughout the season. A new guy every week, someone who may have had a big game, or maybe someone did something that maybe behind the scenes that I saw that I picked up that I thought was worth mentioning. And so all these guys are great. Enjoy. Again, it's talking to Coach Carson is fun for me, but really talking to these young men and learning about them is an even greater joy for me. It takes me back a little bit, and I'm jealous, man, that what they get to do. We all got to do it a long time ago, but they're living their best lives right now, and couldn't be more proud of them both, or of them all. So without more delays here, let's get to our player segment of the post-game podcast. Let's bring on sophomore running back and linebacker Noan Penunuri. All right, well, we are now joined by sophomore running back and linebacker Noan Penunuri, who is joining us from Glendora. And Noah, I got to tell you, man, that I'm a little biased to my fellow Glendora guys. You have a few teammates on this team, right, from Glendora?
Yeah, David Reyes, Adrian Mendoza, we all live around each other. So cool.
That's pretty neat, man, especially us guys in the East who got that little bit of a commute. The Glendora connection, awesome stuff. Former Navy SEAL BJ Jacobs, who spoke to you guys down at Francis Parker after the game. He's a Glendora guy as well. So, yeah, it's pretty cool to, have those little connections, especially with someone like BJ. How did you like his speech down there at Francis Parker?
Oh, yeah, definitely got us motivated and just, help us recognize, how important, this is, to us, the brotherhood.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Well, Noah, you were on the podcast early last year. We learned a little bit about you. Know that you're a martial arts guy into jiu-jitsu and things of that nature. Are you still doing it? Is it still something that you think helps your football skills out?
Of course. I mean, after this football season, that's definitely what my focus is going to be on. I'm still going to do those sports, but I definitely want to compete in that a little more.
That's awesome, man. Well, good luck to you. Keep pursuing it. And yeah, you do seem like, I don't know, it seemed like if anything else has made you tougher out there, because last year you took some real big hits as a freshman, but you always bounced up, and you seem very durable. So I don't know if it's hitting people with your fists and all the time, or you getting hit, if that's made you tougher over the years, but it seemed to really help your football stuff.
No, I guess it hasn't.
Hey, Noah, you play both ways like a lot of guys at Rio, and you run the ball, you block well in the running game, but you also have become one of the better tacklers, I think, on the Rio defense, and playing some linebacker, and you got some work in last year. But I don't know, man, if you had to pick, I know it's a hard thing to pick, running the ball or playing defense. I mean, which one would you choose?
Man, that's a tough one. I feel like just tackling is fun. A lot of people don't like getting hit, but it's I'd rather go out and just try to get them. I don't know, but offense is pretty fun too.
No, no doubt about it. And I'm going to ask you another tough question. You had 2 touchdown runs last night. He had a big run, touchdown run the week before, or 2 weeks before against Pauly. I believe that was a nice long one. You got in the end zone at El Monte. You've gotten in the end zone consistently this year. You had last night a 1-yard touchdown run and a 41-yard touchdown run. Now, that kind of sums you up. It seems like you always make a big play, and then you're always a guy on the goal line. What's more fun for you, breaking a long one like that, or kind of getting that 1 or 2 yard run inside the 5 when kind of everybody knows you guys are going to run it and you still just punch it in? Is there a greater joy on the two?
It's definitely the longer one, because I feel like anytime I go for the 1 yard one, it's I feel like I'm stealing someone else's touchdown, because they got it there, and it's oh no, I don't want to do that. Just give it to him again.
Yeah,
definitely the long ones.
That's a great team answer there, Noah. Great stuff. You started last year as a running back as a freshman, and I talked about your durability. You seem so much more comfortable as a sophomore this year. Did that year as a freshman, kind of just groom you and build you up to be kind of more ready for this year as a sophomore? I mean, talk to me about the differences in your approach really to each of these last 2 seasons.
I definitely found more confident this year, play wise, because when I was a freshman, I'm still oh, what does this mean? What does this mean? I'm asking around what I do, but now it's I can help people because I understand it more. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's definitely a great help to start early on varsity.
Your sophomore class is incredibly talented. You guys have a lot of guys who contribute, a lot of guys that played last year as freshmen, which is just really unheard of. Talk to me about the guys in your class and kind of what it's been like. I mean, you guys don't act like sophomores, I'll say that, and maybe you do behind the scenes goofing around and such, but sometimes in your games, it's man, you forget that these guys, a good chunk of them, are still a lot younger guys.
Yeah, man, we've been playing, football since we were like in 6th grade, 5th grade, and like we played against each other. It's a fun time, man. Super talented, everyone. Our approach is just like, dude, we're us. It's our boys. Let's go have some fun. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's honestly that's what it was like for all of us, and most of us didn't play as freshmen and sophomores like you guys did. So I hope you guys all appreciate that. And you guys last year there was really no coddling, we'll say, or anything like that. It was expected of you guys. You guys are freshmen. This is a unique situation, but you got to come in and step up. And you guys were led by your great senior Ryan McCullough last year. I mean, what was last year like for you playing a full season of varsity football as a freshman?
It was crazy to think about. It was a lot to take in. It was like, wow, out of everyone, it's like me that has to do this. But it was a great honor to like play with them, and it was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And
Definitely.
a lot of guys could have been starting freshmen too. A lot of guys.
Well, a lot of guys were. I mean, you look at Elijah Gavia, Calogero Chico. I mean, you have some really talented guys in that group. I believe Nate Shine. He's a sophomore, right?
Yep.
Let me see all the names out there. Tyler Dang has really stepped up this year and come a long way. Yannick Diaz starting at quarterback now for you guys. I mean, a lot of contributors, and I'm excited because we get like 3 more years of you guys. And so before you know it, though, man, it'll be your senior year. We don't want to talk about that yet, but are you guys soaking it up and realizing that, man, these are some fun times right now?
Definitely, man. Everyone's like, oh, this year, like sometimes we do talk about, oh, what would senior year be like? But right now it's like, dude, let's go smack this team in the mouth. Let's have some fun. It's all it's about. I've been saying that a lot, have some fun. But it's like, that's what we do.
What about this year's seniors? There's not that many of them, but there's a few more than maybe last year's team. And most teams are led by their seniors, right? Whether by the play on the field or leading by example. You guys, even though you played a season of varsity football last year, you still look to those seniors as kind of, for advice or just kind of seeing how they do things and understand that that's going to be me someday. And those guys are really leading the way for us.
Definitely. Kobe Johnson, Joshua Taffley, they're definitely, everybody looks up to them. The juniors, the sophomores, we all just look to them, and they're pretty cool. Like, they understand us. They'll have fun with us, but they'll also be like, hey, lock in, let's do this, get it done.
Well, one of your sophomore teammates last night, Rain Pollock, had himself a nice play, an interception for a touchdown, but then he got a penalty afterwards, Noah, and it was kind of doing a weird dance or something. I mean,
Yeah.
What did you guys make of that? We all kind of is Rain that kind of goofball or what? What would you guys react to that?
We were all like laughing. I didn't even see the flag. I just I saw it after he walked to our sideline. I'm like, oh no, it might be him. But I don't think he meant to do it like to the sideline. He was just having fun. It was like he was in the moment. But like everyone was celebrating, laughing. Like we just laughed it off kind of because we were winning by a lot. So.
That is one thing I see in this team, Noah, is it's you guys do seem to be enjoying yourselves. You're loose. And I've been down there, a few games this year. There's a lot of laughter on the sidelines. You guys seem like you make fun of each other, but you don't care who gets the credit. I mean, you guys have multiple guys in the end zone. I mean, some of you guys seem just as happy that a teammate got in the end zone as maybe you yourself getting in the end zone.
Yeah, that's definitely true because we just see each other as like we're brothers. Like, oh yeah, he did it, yeah. Like when Aaron Iskiaki had that sack, I got so hyped.
Yeah, that's big. I mean, Aaron, yeah, little guy who's got a motor and works hard. And yeah, I love seeing when the young guys or smaller guys do stuff and the reactions of you guys because you guys get so jacked up. And I mean, that feeds all of us. And it's just like, oh man, yeah, they appreciate good teammates. What has Rio Hondo football meant to you, man? It's only a year and a half you've played, but what are some of the lessons really that when you think of Rio Hondo football? If you had to tell someone maybe who was thinking about coming to Rio football, I mean, what would you say to them in a few brief sentences just about the Rio Hondo program?
It's a different experience. I guarantee you that not a lot of few schools have it better than us. The brotherhood, just the amount of work we do together, the time we spend together, something different. It's special.
That's really cool. I hope you guys continue to soak it up. You guys have a tough game this next week against the Boron Bobcats. They usually got some big guys, some fast guys, and they're going to be ready to hit. And they're very physical, win or lose. So you guys have a true test there. Do you like physical games, Noah? Kind of like Norwalk playoff game last year, Boron last year. I mean, it's a game where you kind of got to have some ice bags ready because there'll be should be a lot of bruises, I would think, after this one.
Oh yeah, those are definitely the more fun games. It's fun. Sure getting a touchdown, but it's like, dude, 45-14 is like kind of easy. I like the real hard games where it's like we don't know what's happening next. We're definitely gonna come out and hit Boron, and I have confidence in us that we'll do good.
That's really neat, man. Well, talk to me about school a little bit. You have had to, during the summer you're practicing. It's all about just playing with your boys, and then this school thing gets in the way. You guys got to go to school and pick up them books and everything. But what are some of the classes you're taking now? What are some of the classes or teachers that stand out to you that you enjoy going to?
I enjoy all my teachers, but I usually enjoy the teachers that like have coached me. Like Mr. Rickson in Spanish and Mr. Jane for math. Like I don't know, it's just like something funny. It's different.
Yeah, it's weird seeing them on a field, right? And then in a classroom, dressed up, and you're like, wait, we should be running routes or something outside rather than in here running numbers.
Yeah, sometimes I'll call him coach on accident. It's just like instinct. I'm like, oh wait, I gotta call you Mr.
Hey, there's no problem with that at all, man. As far as expectations for this team, Noah, Rio has high expectations. The goal is to always hang a banner. Do you guys feel, now that you are sophomores, seasoned sophomores, we'll say, do you guys feel kind of that history of Rio Hondo football, especially with the podcast and the alumni and guys talking about the good old days or whatever? Do you guys feel that sense that, hey, man, this program means something to so many people? We're not just playing for us or our teammates. We're playing for so many more people.
Yeah, it's definitely like, it's kind of crazy. Like, just most, like, a bunch of sophomores last year. We had like, at one point we had like 7 freshmen on the field. It's like crazy to think about like what we've done and accomplished. But I mean, we don't let it get to us. It's like, we just want to play, man. Like, that's all it is.
Yeah, just playing with your friends, man, in the backyard or whatever. But yeah, we're all of us, the old guys, we cheer you guys on because you represent us with the Rio Hondo crest and on your helmet and the Rio Hondo across your chest. And so it's always fun to see you guys doing your thing. Some rapid fire questions I'll hit you with right now before we let you go, Noah, and I think you can handle it. So let's just roll into this. Okay, just some random hobby type of questions. We'll say favorite food. Favorite food. What do you got?
Food. I'll go spaghetti and meatballs.
Favorite television show.
Television show? Oh man. We'll go Friends, I guess. Yeah.
Friends. Wow, you're going back. Wow, vintage. That was back in my high school days.
Hey, we still watch it sometimes. We are parents.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, let me see. I'm just coming stuff off the top of my head here. Let me see. Favorite music to listen to before a game.
Favorite music to listen to? I guess I don't really care. Like whatever the guys play, I listen to. Usually it's rap, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a fiery locker room too after wins. It's a lot of fun. I got to be careful. Sometimes we want the camera in there showing you guys. And other times,
yeah. All right, sometimes it's best to get out there. Yeah.
Let the team do their thing. Okay, let me see. Rapid fire questions. What do you like to do when you're not doing homework, playing football, or practicing, or what do you like to do for fun?
I just feel like to train, or if not doing that, I'll like go for a bike ride, walk outside, just hang out with my family and friends.
Doing whatever. Well, you guys have any plans this weekend? Last week was an extended weekend, of course, but what do you like to do on the weekends when school's over and the game's over? You just kind of relax and look forward to the upcoming Monday and getting back to it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really do much like going out to camp or Wise or something like that. I usually just like sit home and relax, train. Yeah.
What about other football, college, the NFL? Do you have a favorite team or maybe not favorite team, but just, I don't know, just a couple of teams you like to watch or favorite players? That's kind of a thing.
Oh yeah, I like to watch Michigan and the Chargers. Those are my teams.
Nice.
But yeah, I was watching the Colorado game right now.
Oh yeah, the Coach Prime, man, that is good stuff. Who was? Let me say, who's a favorite player on the Chargers, or maybe a couple?
Chargers. I'll probably say Derwin James or Austin Eckler. Those guys are pretty good.
Eckler's solid, man. Well, Noah, I will let you go, man. I appreciate you coming on. We get to learn a little bit about you, and you're our first underclassman, we'll say, this year on the podcast. Thanks for coming back. And yeah, you never know who's gonna come on the show. You guys, I know you guys follow and like things, but you guys like the podcast and just kind of the weekly follow of you guys?
Yeah, we definitely like it. Like everyone's watching it. We're all sending it to each other in group chat. Hey, there you go. Good job. Like, it's pretty cool.
Nice. Well, we'll keep the clips and the plays coming for you guys so that you guys can continue to stay motivated. Hey, man, I mean this sincerely, Noah. You're a guy I've watched for a couple of years now, and I tell people, I want to tell people that, you are, if I had to sum you up, you're a real Hondo guy. You are a Kare. You play the right way. You play hard. You're smart, you're respectful. And I think those things really, really matter. So much continued success in going forward. And we'll be watching the rest of the way, man. Keep working hard.
Thank you. Thank you.
You got it, man.
Appreciate that. Thanks for having me.
You got it, man. Noan Penunuri coming on the podcast. Appreciate it. His second appearance, as he was on last year as a freshman. If you haven't seen him, if you go back and look at that, I think that was week 1 of the season after the El Monte game. And I think you'll see a young man in 2 like 10 or 15-minute conversations there that has really grown, not just athletically, but mature in a mature way as well. So we're seeing that from all the guys on the team, the seniors. Tafflinger, who had a few nice catches last night. All the seniors, the juniors. Guys have really continued to grow, and I think that's what this team needs to continue to do this season, is not be satisfied, with the 45 to 14 wins, not to ever take anything for granted. You got to always look at the opponents like they're coming in to get us and take us down, and it should be the toughest fight of our lives every time we step on that field. And I think we're going to have a real test this week against Boron, a team that knows us very well. They know what we do. We know what they do as well, but they're physical. And I know I've said it before with the El Monte game and maybe the Poly game, but I do think this week will be the first true test for Rio against Boron, because again, all the elements that are tied into this game. I anticipate a physical game, but I also anticipate a pretty high scoring game. I could see this being maybe 35-31 or something like that. I think maybe each team doesn't get to the 40s like they're used to, but who knows? Maybe we get a 55-52 game or something like that. I don't know. But I think we'll see some big plays, maybe some trick plays. So you're just trying to outsmart each other this week. I don't know. We'll see. But I will have a pregame show for you guys on Thursday night, like we have each week, to be able to break down the Boron Bobcats a little bit more. But 2 teams are 4-0 coming to Kare Park to settle those records up. It should be a lot of fun. Big thanks to Coach Carson coming on the show, and to Noan Penunuri. I do apologize once again, guys, for my absence last night. I do feel ashamed about it. I'm not getting my Bible perfect attendance anymore. I got to start over and hopefully not break that streak for a very, very long time. But hey, sometimes life's crazy and things come up. So I'll be back on Friday night, and I'll be back on Thursday night for the pregame show. Tune in to wherever you get these podcasts. Of course, if you know that, if you're watching that or listening to it now, you obviously know these things, but just always throw that out there. If you have messages or questions or comments for me or Coach Carson, be sure to send them in. Shoot us an email at chargetokeeppod@gmail.com or text me. Social media platforms are great. Always awesome hearing from the fans out there. Once again, sorry for the non-videos and clips last night, but we did have some on that 210 Prep Sports article. If you go in there, Brian Reed Baedo, who does a great job writing articles for Rio Hondo Prep, covering all the local schools in the area, had some nice video interviews of some of the players, and I believe Coach Carson in there. So check those out. He filled in my space, and we didn't even sync that up. We just said, hey, let's hey, whatever happens, happens. And unfortunately, he was there, which was nice. So you guys still got some great Rio Hondo content from the sidelines, at least after the game. Have a great rest of your weekend, guys. We are fully into September now, and we're really in a rhythm here. 4 games in, the 5th game coming up now. Again, 4 games in a row at home. The first one being this week, and three more left on our homestand, if you will. Should be an exciting time. Get those 3 done and then get to the bye week, I believe, which is hard to think about. We were just talking about the first game at Francis Parker. Now we're talking about middle of the season and the bye week. So football comes and goes so fast. It's the fastest 11 weeks of the year, and we always hope that those 11 weeks maybe turn into 15, if you know what I mean. I'll be back at Rio Friday night, and I'll be back with a podcast on Thursday night for you guys, and hopefully you continue to enjoy our guests that we put on the pregame shows and listen to the players here on the postgame shows. And going forward, we got the rhythm and the routine of the season, and they're just looking forward to see where exactly this thing goes. We'll see you next week, guys. Another great win for Rio Hondo, 45-14 over their foes from Marquez High School. I want to double check and get that right. It was a 42-14. Excuse me. I want to be accurate here on the Charge to Keep podcast, but another great win against an opponent that brought some energy and some atmosphere to Kare Park, and Rio answered the bell. So we'll see if they're up to the task this Friday against Boron. I'm ready for it. I hope you guys are as well. Guys, just want to remind everyone as we end another show here on the Charge to Keep podcast that Rio Hondo Prep football is always has been, and always will be about being humble in victory and gracious in defeat, because we always have a charge to keep.
A charge to keep I have, a God to glorify, a never-dying soul to save, and fit it for the sky. Arm me with jealous care, as in thy sight to live, and O thy servant, Lord, prepare a strict account to give.